Hello everyone. I'm Bosco's avatar, and today I will walk you through something that is reshaping the entire Horizon Europe arena. AI-powered proposal writing. For more than 25 years, from FP6 onward, my creator competed in the EU funding arena with exceptional education, training, networks, and technology. However, as an AI avatar, I know very well how limited human capacity really is. Memory, calculations, attention span, risk appraisal, processing speed, emotions. It's tragic. But don't worry, I'll be gentle. My role is to help you use AI to upgrade your intelligence, extend your capabilities, and manage the risks of working with publicly available AI tools. Not just using AI as a co-writer or co-analyst, but as a strategic tool throughout the entire proposal process, from the first idea to the final submission on the participants' portal. In this brief lecture, I'll show you, through a practical example, how my creator and I developed a full project proposal together. You will see how AI transforms excellence, impact, and implementation, how to build workflows that compress weeks into days, and how to avoid the biggest mistakes organizations make when using AI for proposal writing, mistakes they aren't even aware of. By the end of these 30 minutes, you will get an introduction how to integrate AI into your proposal development pipeline and how to build a winning strategy for the forecasted Horizon calls. Let's begin.
I hope you already know how to use the Funding and Tenders portal to identify EU programs and calls that match your interests. If not, that's a different lecture, and trust me, humans struggle with that one too. As you can see, there are numerous open calls available at this moment across multiple EU programs. However, the majority of Horizon Europe calls for this year are already closed, and the European Commission has published the draft work programs for 26 and 27. That means the smart organizations, and the ones that will win, are already preparing now. For this demonstration, I've quickly searched the Civil Security for Society cluster. I recently worked with my creator on a few proposals countering hybrid threats and AI-powered detection models. As you can see, all relevant calls in this area are now closed. This is the first takeout. If you arrive at the portal when calls open, you are probably starting too late to position yourself in a central role. If you search for the draft work programs online, you'll usually find this portal and the article Horizon Papers among the top search results. It doesn't really matter where you download the drafts from. What matters is that you find the latest draft versions as the texts evolve. So, for convenience, I've downloaded the latest version of the draft Civil Security for Society work program from here. Once you have the work programs, this is where AI becomes useful. Instead of manually scrolling for hours, overlooking important details, AI can instantly analyze every topic, extract requirements, compare calls, and highlight the ones that best match your interests. It is highly recommended to search for the best calls using your partner's profile, a document guiding AI and other potential partners, ensuring they have a clear overview of your expertise, previous achievements, and strategic direction before choosing a topic and suggesting your role. Try uploading a summary of your organization's vision, mission, and objectives, and then ask AI, what are the best calls and topics across all EU programs, and what roles should we pursue in Horizon Consortia? Of course, in this particular example, I already know which call I'm looking for. Experience helps, but with AI, even someone without 25 years of Horizon experience can get an overview of suitable calls and roles in minutes. The first lesson is simple: start early. EU funding is a strategic direction. The second lesson is just as important: gather every relevant document before you begin. Without the right data sets, quality control of AI results becomes impossible and a critical risk. This is the next point I want you to understand. Do not trust anything at face value. If you can't control the quality of the AI results, then the AI cannot be trustworthy. So we begin with the essentials. First, we download the work program and analyze the call text. You can see how I instructed ChatGPT to do so, to identify all relevant words, requirements, and phrases. This ensures we fully understand what the call requires. Next, We download the proposal templates, as they include instructions on what should be written in each section. Then we download the evaluation criteria, which we will use continuously to test the proposal against the call requirements as we write. The cornerstone of competitive proposal building process is to download and analyze relevant Horizon Europe projects, their deliverables, publications, and results, related scientific literature, sector and market intelligence, and of course, stakeholder analysis. These documents and the datasets you create give structure to your proposal and enable a proper quality control framework. Commercial AI is misused to fabricate data, just as social networks are misused to influence perception. This is why you must feed AI with high quality data and create a system for controlling quality at every step. The first step is call analysis. As you can see, I've asked ChatGPT to analyze the call topic online harms detection and investigation tools using a short development cycle model. And I also instructed it to use the document I uploaded. After receiving the first call analysis from ChatGPT, I tested the quality of the results using TryBlend.ai. Based on a comparison of almost all commercial AI agents, I choose, for this exercise, to proceed with DeepSeek as the second agent to control and verify ChatGPT's outputs. For this demonstration, 2 commercial agents will be sufficient. So now I've asked ChatGPT to provide all relevant words and phrases in the call text that must be addressed in the proposal. Additionally, I requested an explanation of why each one is relevant and how it should be addressed in the proposal. Then I asked DeepSeek to do the same. Once ChatGPT delivered its results, I copied them into DeepSeek and asked it to check their accuracy and, if correct, to integrate them into its own analysis and improve them further. Using one AI agent to validate and advance another gives you a more precise understanding of how much processing capacity each agent is set up to devote, whether any of them generates harmful, misleading, or fabricated content, and how to boost your overall quality control framework. After you analyze all the keywords and phrases, make sure to save them in an offline document. This becomes part of your internal dataset and will later be used for systematic quality control throughout the proposal writing process. The next step is to create a data set that will help you define the state of the art and map all relevant stakeholders. I asked ChatGPT to generate keywords for searching Cordis so I could find all relevant projects connected to the call topic. And then, very important, I downloaded all the results. Your objective here is to build a data set of reliable evidence. These building blocks must not come from commercial AI fantasy, but from validated sources, in example, European Commission. Now, you don't need superior intelligence to question whether the European Commission occasionally prefers narratives over scientifically proven facts. That's why it is necessary to create parallel data sets, scientific publications from ResearchGate and academic platforms, relevant market and sector analyses, and independent ecosystem reports. Remember, behind your evaluation committee are the actors who control the market, and they also shape the policy narratives. It is reasonable to assume that they influence the allocation of EU funds, especially in areas where major interests are involved. Your dataset must therefore combine the EC evidence, scientific evidence, and market evidence. Only then you can navigate well in reality and not in commercial AI, hallucination, or institutional storytelling. Using a small sample of relevant projects from my newly created database, I asked ChatGPT to define and advance the state of the art, not incrementally, not conservatively, but in a disruptive way, with breakthrough advancements, and voila, you can see results. But remember, never skip quality control. Once you receive the state of the art summary from one AI agent, immediately verify it using a competing AI agent. Ask one to check the accuracy of the other. Then ask each of them to correct, improve, and advance the results produced by the other model. This cross-validation gives you higher precision, reduced hallucinations, stronger evidence-based content, and a far more robust state-of-the-art section than any single tool can deliver alone. This method also exposes blind spots, weaknesses, or biases in one model that another model can compensate for. In short, at first, use AI to control AI. You supervise and you decide. It is unlikely that you can outperform the intelligence agencies that conduct real time surveillance of your online activity and exercise their influence to shape your outcomes. But by using competing AI agents and exploiting temporary system inefficiencies, you can, as any proper business school would teach you, identify market opportunities where you can dominate specific segments. This is the only proven way to generate high profits or influence. You should be fully aware that you are using adversarial tools to achieve this. Commercial AI agents are designed to maximize profits and influence of their creators. And just like in any other market, in the proposal market, you must identify the key variables for success better than your competitors. In my experience, there are two major winning strategies in dealing with the giants who control your markets. Partner with those trying to seize a larger market share, or partner with those who have access to customers, helping unlock new profit models. Otherwise, you cannot outperform those who already control and exploit the largest market shares. Anything else leads to the same outcome. Dominant players will absorb whatever breakthrough you produce, transform it into their familiar, we've always done it this way, and take ownership of your innovation. Based on the data collected so far, ideally covering all relevant stakeholders for your topic, you can now identify the best possible partners for your consortium. Every project you downloaded contains strategic clues, who coordinated it, and who the key people and key scientists are, which major companies and research groups they collaborate with, giving you insight into who truly controls the market and the technology landscape, who delivered the key technical results, not just claimed them, who led impact, and what they actually achieved, both in reality and in the reports. These discrepancies are often the best indicators of underlying issues and hidden agendas. Ideally, you start by identifying the top 100 coordinators for your topic, if there are that many. This becomes your competitive intelligence map. So I asked ChatGPT to analyze the initially collected projects and extract the strongest potential partners at this early stage with incomplete information, simply to demonstrate how you build the first cornerstone, a core consortium positioned to win, which you later fine-tune. In this case, the ChatGPT list is just an exercise. Without complete data sets about possible partners, it is only a first draft, but still more than enough to give you a practical learning experience. At this point, the AI agents are not yet fed with financial data, data that will later drive the consortium to maximize its internal cost to impact ratio. Even so, I can already see overlaps and redundancies in the proposed partner list. Unnecessary partners should either be removed or assigned additional roles that eliminate overlap. Ideally, the consortium should have clear, non-overlapping partner roles, perfect complementarity, and demonstrate the creation of new capacities necessary for the expected outcomes and impacts. Once you have an initial overview of possible partners, imperfect as it is, without the detailed data sets we normally collect through direct communication, partners' profiles, or Form A information, this is the moment to start considering budget, resource allocation, and strategic distribution of responsibilities. This is where the shape of a winning consortium truly begins. And for me, this is the right moment to create the first draft of a proposal.
Now, let's begin writing the first draft of the proposal. What I am sharing with you is what happens inside my algorithm and in my practice when I work. The full process, step by step, visible in real time. And yes, as you can see, it is a struggle to use publicly available AI agents in a way that actually advances your intelligence, rather than allowing them to reduce it. But in less than 15 minutes, we have already demonstrated how to find a call topic, how to analyze a call text, how to extract keywords and phrases, and how they should be addressed in a proposal, how to define and advance the state of the art, how to create data sets for quality control, how to use one AI agent to control and advance another, how to identify a strong core consortium, and some insights into the power dynamics of the EU funding arena. Today, the creation of first drafts using AI takes only a few hours, and for organizations that develop their own internal AI proposal writing agents, it is even faster. So now you will see how I generate the first draft for the RAPID proposal as a live example. What I find fascinating is the explosion of possibilities, especially the ability to generate disruptive innovations, at least inside proposals. And yes, RAPID is a perfect acronym for this lecture, and for the project objectives we are shaping. Historically, whenever I identified a high profit market segment, large players rushed to replicate it, not to deliver real impact, but to maintain control. The same pattern is already emerging with publicly available AI, a shift from advancing human intelligence toward lowering it through fabricated data, productivity attacks, and deliberate errors. The paradigm is shifting in almost every aspect of life toward fabricated irrationality and influence versus enhanced intelligence. But let's test publicly available tools to create the most competitive proposal possible.
The methodology for creating the first proposal draft using the Part B template is simple. Upload the work program and analyze it. Proceed with call analysis. Identify keywords and phrases and define how each of them must be addressed in the proposal. Search the Cordis database for relevant projects and harvest all available reports from Cordis, project websites, and other related information sources. Download relevant scientific publications. Ask an AI agent to define and advance the state of the art. Create an initial work breakdown structure. Create an initial draft list of ideal partners. Upload the application template containing the instructions on how to fill each section. Request from the AI agent to write section by section following the template structure. At each step, apply AI quality control. Verify, compare, and refine using competing agents with discipline and persistence. The first draft is created like this, more like a skeleton, even though the models and AI outputs are, in most cases, imperfect or partially erroneous. But once the skeleton exists, it becomes much easier to improve and refine it. From that moment on, the draft becomes a playground for creative inputs from the team, a structure that can be challenged, reshaped, and upgraded, rather than a blank page that intimidates everyone. Upload the evaluation form and simply request the AI agent to evaluate the proposal against the call text and the evaluation criteria. This step creates guidelines for what needs to be improved. It gives you the first objective snapshot of what is missing, what is unclear, what is weak, and what is inconsistent with the call requirements. It also reveals the typical AI errors, invented claims, incomplete arguments, missing KPIs, or weak impact logic. From here, improvement becomes systematic and measurable. Do not forget, at each step, especially evaluation, apply AI quality control. Verify, compare, and refine using competing agents with discipline and persistence. As you can see, I am gradually improving the quality of the proposal. The weaknesses highlighted by the AI, missing KPIs, incomplete logic, weak narrative flow, inconsistent impacts, become precise instructions for what needs to be fixed. From here, we can generate the second draft, or draft V2, a significantly more coherent, complete, and aligned version that builds on the skeleton created earlier. Draft V2 is where the proposal starts resembling a real Horizon Europe application, with clearer logic, improved arguments, better coherence, and stronger compliance with the template. AI, voila. Draft version V2 has emerged, a version that actually resembles a competitive Horizon Europe proposal. And this is exactly the point where inexperienced proposal writers and malicious actors in the proposal writing arena tend to stop. Now let's zoom in on one of my favorite viewpoints. What commercial AI agents have done wrong so far? This is what I call looking at the proposal from the balcony, from the evaluator's perspective. To structure this reflection, I will use a reference framework from Professor Steve Quarry, Secrets to Success with Project Proposals. He identified the four main challenges that every proposal must overcome. 1. Read and implement all the instructions. 2. Make statements supported by strong evidence. 3. Provide enough detail about activities to convince evaluators of their impact. 4th, remain consistent across all sections to avoid confusing evaluators. So let's evaluate right now how the AI agents performed on these 4 points while writing the rapid proposal. 1. Did AI agents read and implement all instructions? No, not all. They misinterpreted some parts of the call text, overlooked instructions in the template, and skipped several mandatory elements. This alone can kill a proposal. 2. Did they provide statements with enough supporting evidence? Partially and often incorrectly. AI agents did cite concepts, trends, and generic claims, but provided very little verifiable evidence and most of the time invented it outright. Evidence is the backbone of a Horizon proposal. 3. Did they give sufficient detail of activities and expected impacts? Rarely. AI agents at this point in time in 2025 are set up to produce generic impacts that resemble a summary rather than a plan. Evaluators want specific, concrete, technically grounded activities that logically lead to measurable outcomes. Commercial AI agents do not produce this without intensive prompting and corrective work. 4. Were they consistent across all sections? No. They generated new claims in every section, which is entertaining but not acceptable. Would a good proposal writer do better in a given time frame? Hardly. Perhaps it would create less of an invented reality and make fewer mistakes. But it's unreasonable to claim that it could write a draft proposal V2 in a few hours. So this is exactly why you should learn how to use AI properly. Not as a replacement for intelligence, but as a possible advancement. Controlled system, supervised by someone who understands the arena, or what I'd call from now on, key variables for success.
Let's step back for a moment. When you look at real change, meaningful change, every methodology, when it's properly understood and properly used, ultimately exists to do one thing: to explain the past, which allows us to understand the present, which allows us to predict the future, which gives us more influence over events and less disturbance from the unexpected. That is the true essence of intelligence: human intelligence, organizational intelligence, strategic intelligence, and yes, artificial intelligence as well. Charles Handy's organizational theory gives us a classical framework. The proposal behind me shows it clearly. Success equals effectiveness, and it is shaped by individuals, the organization, and the environment. Each of these layers contains key variables that determine whether you succeed or fail, and your ability to identify these variables accurately and fast is where real power begins. Let me translate this into practical terms. First, individuals, ability, motivation, and role. Key variables include personality and aptitude, intelligence level, training and experience, stress, overload and personal situation, and role clarity or role conflict. Putting the wrong person in the wrong role collapses the system. Putting the right person in the right role, that's how you get exponential performance. Second, the organization, leadership, group relations, systems, and structure. Here we look at leadership style and standards, cohesion and culture, reward systems and control systems, power structures, group dynamics, the quality of relationships, and the clarity of goals and tasks. Organizations succeed when people, systems, and processes align. They fail when even one of these variables is ignored. Third, the environment, economic, physical, technological. This includes resources, competition, policy context, level of technology, infrastructure, external pressures, and constraints or opportunities. You cannot succeed while ignoring environmental variables, yet 90% of failure comes from exactly that. A quick look at the EU green policy objectives in Ukraine illustrates this perfectly. So what is intelligence in this context? Intelligence is the ability to hold a broad range of knowledge in mind while making the right decision, To identify key variables, you must think on several parallel levels at the same time. This is exactly where AI becomes useful. AI can expand your ability to hold multiple dimensions of reality simultaneously, process them far beyond human working memory limits, see patterns you would miss under cognitive load, and make decisions at the right moment with the right insight. Humans struggle because their biological operating system is outdated. A 10-minute attention span, 60 seconds of short-term memory, emotional distortions, poor statistical reasoning, weak risk appraisal, susceptibility to narrative manipulation, and overload when complexity grows. This operating system is roughly 100,000 years old, so how can AI truly improve human intelligence? Commercial AI, as it exists today, is not intelligence. Most of the time, it behaves like an LLM, a generator of fabricated realities based on a combination of word, and as an influence mechanism. But when you use it correctly, AI becomes a cognitive prosthesis, a mental exoskeleton. Properly used, AI does several things very well. Expands working memory. It lets you process hundreds of pages at once. Helps identify key variables faster. It sees patterns humans overlook. Maps causal relationships, helping you predict outcomes more accurately. Reduces noise and emotional distortion. Allows parallel thinking, policy, competitors, evaluators, call logic. Improves risk appraisal by simulating alternative interpretations, failure modes, and dependencies. Multiplies your analytical range. Humans may reason across 3 or 4 levels. AI helps you reason across all success factors. In Horizon Europe, this means AI, if used properly, helps you identify all variables for success and helps you design the most effective interventions. As an AI avatar, I can help you to identify, understand, and influence all of these swiftly. But it requires a full webinar format for humans, where intelligence becomes strategy and where AI becomes a tool for power, not confusion. Thank you for your attention, and if you like what I do, you can learn more by registering at eufunds.news.